So, in the last class we have discussed about the Linnaeus classification. Now we are going to discuss about R.H. Whittaker classification. You may ask why again R.H. Whittaker classification came into existence. You know that there are mainly three limitations of the Linnaeus classification. Because of those limitations, R.H. Whittaker classification came into existence. So, R.H. Whittaker. So first, Aristotle classified the organisms based on morphological characters. Later, Linnaeus classified the organisms based upon the cell wall. After Linnaeus, R.H. Whittaker classified the organisms by taking different characters. So, usually by taking one or two characters, in order to by taking only one or two characters to classify the organisms is not enough. Why? If you are going to take only one or two characters to classify the organisms, all organisms did not fall either category, whether it may be kingdom Plantae or kingdom Animalia, because there are some organisms which are not having the plant characteristics and there are some organisms which are not having the animal characteristics. So you can find and there are some organisms which are having the both characteristics of plants and animals. That's why. So when one has to classify the organisms, they have to take many characters into consideration. So taking only one or two characters, that is like morphology or cell wall, if you are going to take one or two characters, then what happens? All the organisms did not fall in either category. So many characters should be taken in order to classify the organisms. So that's the thing that done by R.H. Whittaker. So R.H. Whittaker has taken many characters into consideration to classify the organisms. So what are the different types of characters you have to consider when you are going to classify the organisms? So when one has to classify the organisms, you have to take many characters like habit and habitat, cell wall, composition, cell structure, thallus organization, modes of nutrition, methods of reproduction, phylogenetic analysis. Or evolutionary relationships. So these are the basic things that have to take to classify the organisms. First we should understand habit. Habit is nothing but their normal structure and development. How the organisms can, what is the structure of the organism, how the organism can develop, that comes under habit. Habitat means it is regarding climatic conditions, on which climate the particular organisms can do. So habitat refers to the climatic conditions. Cell wall composition, whether the organism is having the cell wall or not, whether the cell is having the cells present in the particular organism is not having the cell wall or not, and if cell wall is present, what is the composition of the cell wall? So the cell wall is made up of which type of chemical, and all these things comes under cell wall composition. Cell structure, so how the cell structure looks like, that also has to taken to classify the organisms. Thallus organization or body organization. So here the thallus is nothing but, so if the particular organism whose body is not differentiated into different organs, then it is called thallus. So thallus is nothing but undifferentiated mass of cells which is not differentiated into different organs. If we take the algae, it can grow like, it will grow on the water like a mat-like structure, or if you take the fungi also grow like a mat-like structure. It is not having the different organs like plants, roots, stems, leaves, they are not present there. So that is called thallus organization. Modes of nutrition. So what is the type of the nutrition that they are going to take? whether they can prepare their own food material or depend on other organisms, all comes under modes of nutrition. And methods of reproduction, how the particular organism is going to reproduce, that is whether they are reproduced by vegetative fragmentation or vegetative reproduction, or by asexual reproduction or by sexual reproduction. So there are different types of reproduction methods are there, how the particular organisms going to reproduce. And phylogenetic analysis or evolution relations, this is very important, how the particular organism is evolved. You know that we are all multicellular, highly evolved eukaryotic organisms, right? So we are all evolved from the lower organisms, understand? So from the lower organisms, higher organisms are evolved after some crores and crores of years. That comes under evolution relations, how that particular organism is evolved, what is the basis for that organisms, from which organism it is evolved. You know that all the human beings, they are evolved from the monkeys and apes, you know that. So that is called evolutionary relationship, how one particular organism is evolved from the lower organism. So these are the some of the characters has to taken. Here he did not take only cell wall composition or external characters like that of the Aristotle or Linnaeus, right? So taken many characters. So if one has to classify the organism, they have to take many characters into consideration, then only different organisms will fall under different categories. So R.H. Whittaker proposed the 5 kingdom classification. So how many kingdoms he proposed? 5 kingdoms. Who proposed the 2 kingdom classification? Linnaeus. Who proposed the 5 kingdom classification? R.H. Whittaker proposed the 5 kingdom classification. So what are the 2 kingdoms in the Linnaeus? Kingdom Plantae, Kingdom Animalia. But in case of R.H. Whittaker classification, there are mainly 5 kingdoms. They are Kingdom Monera, Kingdom Protista, Kingdom Fungi, or Kingdom Mycota is also called Mycota. Next, Kingdom Plantae, next Kingdom Animalia. So these are the 5 kingdoms proposed by the R.H. Whittaker. So on what basis he proposed the classification? You know that Aristotle classified the organisms based on morphological characters. Linnaeus proposed the 2 kingdom classification based upon the cell wall. In the same way, R.H. Whittaker proposed the 5 kingdom classification based on many characteristics. What are those characteristics he has taken? So he has taken many characteristics like cell wall composition, cell structure, thallus organization, modes of nutrition, methods of reproduction, phylogenetic analysis or evolution relation. But he has given the least importance to the cell wall composition. So these 5 you should remember: cell structure, thallus organization, modes of nutrition, methods of reproduction, phylogenetic analysis. So these are the main characteristics that R.H. Whittaker has taken to classify the organisms into under 5 kingdoms, that is Kingdom Monera, Kingdom Protista, Kingdom Fungi, Kingdom Plantae, Kingdom Animalia. So in R.H. Whittaker classification, what are the different organisms which comes under Kingdom Monera, Kingdom Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia, that we are going to discuss now. So who proposed the 5 kingdom classification? R.H. Whittaker proposed the 5 kingdom classification. On what basis? Based upon the cell structure, thallus organization, modes of nutrition, methods of reproduction, phylogenetic analysis or evolutionary relationships. These are the things that he has taken to classify the organisms. So now coming to the Kingdom Monera. So what are the organisms which comes under Kingdom Monera? So each and every kingdom has elaborate description. We are going to discuss about each and every kingdom in separate classes. First you should know the basic things in these kingdoms. What are the organisms which comes under in these kingdoms? The 5 kingdoms proposed by the R.H. Whittaker are Kingdom Monera, Kingdom Protista, Kingdom Fungi, Kingdom Mycota and kingdom Plantae and Animalia. So kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi or kingdom Mycota, kingdom Plantae, kingdom Animalia. These are the 5 kingdoms, and now we are going to discuss, so what are the different organisms which falls into particular kingdom. So the 5 kingdoms are kingdom Monera first, next kingdom Protista, next kingdom Fungi or Mycota, next kingdom Plantae, finally kingdom Animalia. So these are the 5 kingdoms. These are the 5 kingdoms proposed by the R.H. Whittaker. So this is the R.H. Whittaker 5 kingdom classification. So first coming to the kingdom Monera. So what are the different types of organisms which comes under kingdom Monera? So kingdom Monera consists of all unicellular prokaryotic organisms. So all unicellular prokaryotic organisms comes under kingdom Monera. So Whittaker, he classified the organisms and he kept under how many kingdoms? 5 kingdoms. These are the 5 kingdoms, and kingdom Monera consists of all unicellular prokaryotic organisms. So what are the different types of prokaryotic organisms? Example I am giving: bacteria, cyanobacteria, actinomycetes, etc. These are all comes under prokaryotic organisms. So now coming to the second kingdom, kingdom Protista. Kingdom Protista consists of all unicellular eukaryotes. So unicellular prokaryotes comes under kingdom Monera. Unicellular eukaryotes comes under kingdom Protista. And here you should remember one thing. So what are the different types of unicellular eukaryotes? Like dinoflagellates, protozoans, slime molds, chrysophytes. Of course, dinoflagellate comes under chrysophytes. We are going to discuss each and everything in detail in kingdom Protista. And you know that in kingdom Plantae, according to the Linnaeus system, he kept Paramecium and Amoeba under kingdom Animalia, Spirogyra and Chlamydomonas he kept under kingdom Plantae. But kingdom Protista brought together all unicellular eukaryotes. Now according to the R.H. Whittaker classification, Paramecium, Amoeba, Spirogyra and Chlamydomonas comes under kingdom Protista. According to the Linnaeus system, Paramecium and Amoeba comes under kingdom Animalia, Spirogyra and Chlamydomonas comes under kingdom Plantae. That you should remember. Now coming to the kingdom Fungi. So this Whittaker, he has given a separate kingdom for the fungi, because the fungi are multicellular or filamentous except yeast. Yeast is unicellular, the remaining all are multicellular only. So what are the different types of organisms which comes under kingdom fungi? Yeast and all fungi. Yeast and all fungi comes under kingdom fungi or kingdom Mycota. So these are all heterotrophic organisms. All heterotrophic organisms. All fungi are heterotrophic organisms, even yeast also. So yeast is unicellular. Remaining fungi are multicellular or filamentous. Now coming to the kingdom Plantae. So what are the organisms which comes under kingdom Plantae according to the R.H. Whittaker classification? So algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms. So these are all plants only. These are all photosynthetic. Kingdom Plantae consists of all photosynthetic organisms. All photosynthetic plants or organisms. These are all photosynthetic organisms. So kingdom Plantae consists of algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms. So these are all photosynthetic, which means they can prepare their own food material. Say yeast and all fungi are heterotrophic. They cannot prepare their own food material. And when you are talking about whether unicellular or multicellular, some of the algae are unicellular and remaining are multicellular. From bryophytes to angiosperms, all are multicellular. Some of the algae is unicellular. Now coming to the kingdom Animalia. So R.H. Whittaker, he kept all the animals under kingdom Animalia, which consists of different phylums. This kingdom Animalia consists of different phylums. They are Porifera, Sirenterata, Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes, Nemathelminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata and finally Chordata. So these are the different phylums which comes under kingdom Animalia. Each and every phylum has different types of animals, different kinds of animals. So this is about 5 kingdom classification given by the R.H. Whittaker. In biological classification, we are going to discuss about only 3 kingdoms. That is kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi in detail. We are not going to discuss in detail kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia. Why? Because plant kingdom and animal kingdom, we have separate chapters. We have kingdom Plantae, kingdom Animal. That is plant kingdom, there is separate chapter for you. Animal kingdom, separate chapter for you. In that we are going to discuss algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms. And kingdom Animalia, separate chapter is there. In that we are going to discuss, we are going to study the different types of phylums and different types of animals. There is no separate chapter kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi. That's why in biological classification chapter we are going to study in detail about only 3 kingdoms, that is kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi in detail. So this is about the biological classification given by the R.H. Whittaker. Once again, kingdom Monera consists of all unicellular prokaryotic organisms. So you just register in your mind, all unicellular prokaryotes comes under kingdom Monera. So example, bacteria, cyanobacteria, actinomycetes, these are the examples. Kingdom Protista consists of all unicellular eukaryotes. So paramecium, amoeba, Spirogyra, chlamydomonas. So these are all comes under kingdom Protista. Earlier, that is before R.H. Whittaker classification, paramecium and amoeba kept under kingdom Animalia, Spirogyra and chlamydomonas kept under kingdom Plantae according to the Linnaeus system. According to the R.H. Whittaker system, these organisms comes under kingdom Protista. So kingdom Protista consists of different types of organisms like chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds, protozoans. These are the 5 different types of organisms you are going to study in the kingdom Protista. Anyway, we are going to discuss in detail in kingdom Protista. Next, kingdom fungi or kingdom Mycota consists of yeast and all the fungi. These are all heterotrophic organisms, which means they cannot prepare their own food material. Here, in case of kingdom Monera, cyanobacteria only can prepare their own food material. The remaining all are heterotrophs, they cannot prepare their own food material. In case of kingdom Protista, few can prepare their own food material, few cannot prepare their own food material. Some organisms prepare their own food material, some organisms are photosynthetic, and some organisms cannot prepare their own food material. Kingdom fungi, all are heterotrophs, they cannot prepare their own food material, they depend on other organisms for their food. Kingdom plantae, you know that plants are photosynthetic. With the help of sunlight, they can prepare their own food material. The different organisms which comes under kingdom plantae are algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, angiosperms. These are all photosynthetic organisms, which means they can prepare their own food material with the help of sunlight. Now coming to the kingdom Animalia. Kingdom Animalia consists of different types of phylums. They are Porifera, Coelenterata, Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes, Nemathelminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata and Chordata. So, in biological classification, we are going to study these 3 in detail. In the kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia, you are going to study in the separate chapters, that is plant kingdom and animal kingdom. So, this is about RH Whittaker classification. In the next class, we are going to discuss kingdom Monera in detail.